Hello, people of Earth. It is Brennan here, talking about my favorite albums of 2016. We're getting close to the end of this video series as we get closer and closer to modern times. We're in the year 2020 now, and I started at 2000, worked my way all the way to 2016. Maybe if this goes well and I keep having fun with this, I'll go back and do the 90s, 80s, 70s. That could be some fun. But let's talk about 2016 today. My favorite album of 2016 is Periphery 3 Select Difficulty by Periphery. It's a progressive metal album with a gent sound, screaming and clean singing vocals. My favorite song is a tough choice because they're all pretty good songs and there's not really as much of a standout, but I'll go with Flatline today. But I could change my mind on any given day. My second favorite album of 2016 is Dissociation by the Dillinger Escape Plan. It's a mathcore album. This is their last album. Also has some screaming vocals and clean singing. Lots of very chaotic rhythms, as with most of their stuff. But this is probably one of their more accessible albums. I think they started having more variety in their later work and a lot more softer moments in their later work, whereas in their earlier stuff it was more brutal. There's still some brutality here, but my favorite song would be Symptom of Terminal Illness, which is maybe one of the less chaotic songs, a little more digestible, but still a little quirky. And my third favorite of 2016 would be Stranger Heads Prevail by Thank You Scientist. It's a prog rock album with jazzy horns and saxophone. It opens up with a nice a cappella part. My favorite song would be Mr. Invisible. Let's go through some honorable mentions now. The first one would be The Astonishing by Dream Theater. All the honorable mentions here are progressive metal albums, but The Astonishing by Dream Theater is kind of like a Broadway musical meets Disney princess songs meets progressive metal. Definitely not for everyone, but a lot of Dream Theater fans said they didn't really like it as much, but since I enjoy Broadway musicals and progressive metal, I actually like it. Though it was a little bit too long for me, as it's a double album, and it's not their best album for sure, but it's still pretty solid among their catalog. I think it still works for me, but I think there's a little bit of musical filler on it. The good moments are really strong though. My favorite song would be Lord Nefarious. Sounds like an evil Disney bad guy song, but it's very epic and progressive and cool. Other honorable mentions: Transcendence by the Devin Townsend Project. A solid progressive metal album. He is a great vocalist. Probably my favorite vocalist right now. Another honorable mention is The Stage by Avenged Sevenfold. They're usually a more straightforward heavy metal band, but this is probably their most progressive album. Another honorable mention is Affinity by Haken. Everything they put out is pretty solid, and this is no exception. And the last one I'll mention today is Coral Throne by Mandroid Echo Star, a great Canadian progressive metal band for fans of Protest the Hero and Coheed and Cambria. It's kind of like a mixture of those two bands. Combine those two bands together, you get Mandroid Echo Star. And my favorites at the time in 2016 were actually exactly the same as they are now, except I had not heard of Thank You Scientist until about 1 year after this. And I was glad when I found them, when Zandy introduced them to me. So those were my favorites of 2016. What were yours? Let me know. Let me know if I should check anything else out. and I'll talk to you about 2017 next time.